we are very glad to have you all back on our next episode of our panel series discussion presented by Shishi Career Academy. And we as well welcome our panelists, Ravichandran Jagannathan, Procurement Head, Divya Ramesh, Senior HR Coordinator, and Niba Sakya, HR Professional and as well as Career Coach. And the topic for today is failure the key to workplace success. The concept of failure is often seen in a negative light. Even when we were circulating the poster for this panel discussion, we have been asked by some people that why did you choose this topic? We think that it's high time that the cast of negative shade about the failure should be changed, and it's high time that we act upon it. CPO of DEPCO HR quoted that there should be a change of mindset. So it could be as even simple as just calling mistake or failure as a learning moment and not a failure. So I would like to start with a small statistic. 11 out of 12 startup fail. 19 out of 20 innovation project fail. Still, 82% of the global-wide industries invest in research and development and innovation project, even though knowing that the point of failure is high. And you know why? To know why, let's dive deep into today's panel discussion series, and let's ask our panelists what they have to say.
Thank you, Ramya. Thank you so much. Actually, I really like this topic because we are living in uncertainties, right? And the workplace, if we see around in last 3 years, many things have changed. Okay. So, hi everyone. This is Neva. I am from Nepal, and I work for IT company, and I've been in HR since last 10 to 11 years, and I'm also a career counselor. And first of all, I'd like to thank the Academy for inviting me in this forum before going into your topic in your question, right? Definitely, work. This failure, as you rightly said in the beginning, failure is taken in a negative note most of the time. But when we start embracing failure, and when we start shifting our mindset from negativity to positivity, we definitely see the positive aspect of it, because we start to see like how what are the things that has really not worked, and which will gives us the action plan for next actions, right? So it will help us to get closer to our goals more successfully if we embrace the failure, the positive side of failure. And about the workplace, if we look at the workplace, or if you look at different organization, what from experience, what I saw is taking failure is total a mindset. Some organization has taken failure in a very negative way. Some organizations are taking failure as a very positive way, because that keeps on motivating the people. Like they are learning like what really doesn't work and what really works, right? So it's totally depends on the mindset whether to take this as disappointment or a way forward for next course of actions. Similarly, what I see is it also depends on the culture of the organizations, the values and the belief system of the organizations, and also the depends on the leadership mindset also, right? And the leader's mindset, not only leadership but leader's mindset. So, but from my opinion, what I say is we should fail in a better way and learn from it and go forward.
Yeah, I take my turn. Let me introduce myself first. I am Ravichandran Jaganathan. I'm from Chennai, India. So I'm a supply chain profession, and having been in so many years, like I've come across in different industries. So I'm so expertise in like global procurement and vendor management and some of this. It's a pack of like a supply chain operation. So I'm currently heading a department now. First of all, like I would like to thank the panel organizer for having me here today. As what we discussed now, like coming to the topic, the failure. Before that, like the fear, what people comes in. So generally, the people are more fear of what they actually, what they about their unknown things. So this is something they have to develop their ability to, the knowledge is something a developing process, and they have to be, keep learning things from the day-to-day experience. So this is much more important. So especially in the workplace, like I've seen there are so many successful people, like they've gone through with the same failures, or they will come up with so much of fears, and this is something they've got learned so many things in their each and every experience, whatever they are in. So there are a few things I would like to add a point here, and some of the tips based on my experience, what I learned so far. So the first thing is like we must be more, positive way aware, and we must be able to ready to face the challenges, whichever and like wherever we are in. Just to inculcate, something, we must set a goal. Instead, keeping a long-term goal, we must have a small goals. Like succeeding in a short time. The achievements or the accomplishment thing, which will help you to, like pump up your mental strength, and you can, moreover, cover the remaining works, whatever the task and whichever challenges which has been assigned to you. And moreover, like the failure, what you said, like I always see as a challenge. Instead, we are seeing as a failure. It should be always taking as a challenges, as always, and definitely, this is something, like a psychological trait we have to take it through, especially when it comes to the failure or fear. So it might be in a different way. People with a strong mind and an organized way, definitely they can, drive their fear and failure towards success. And people who are hesitant to take challenges, and they are avoiding to face the, obstacles, and definitely there is a tough situation them to move forward.
So, first of all, thank you for having me here. It's definitely a great opportunity for a budding HR professional like me to be a part of this talk or panel discussion where we have all seasoned professionals out here sharing their experiences. Before we go further on to the topic, first let me introduce myself. So my name is Divya Ramesh, and I'm here from Chennai, and I've got like 6+ years of experience in the HR gamut in IT industry. And probably talking about the failure, I would like to start off with a quote from Albert Einstein, where he said that a person who never made a mistake never tried anything new. So maybe that's the reason we have R&D and innovation centers, and most of the organization who are not worried about failing. And talking about my personal experience, when I joined my current organization where I'm working, my first meeting with my senior on my day one, the first thing that she said me was like, Divya, don't worry about making mistakes. You just go ahead. You do as many mistakes you want, but make sure those mistakes shouldn't be repeated anytime further. You made that mistake, you should do that once and learn from those mistakes and try to inculcate that in your upcoming, same thing when you do that. So that's how you become perfect. And even now, whenever we make mistakes, or whenever, to be honest, I make mistake, I have an awesome team. I have an amazing team there with all seniors who got like 10 years, 12 years of experience. So they always guide me. They always hold my hand and say that don't worry, Divya, we are there for you. We are here as a team. You made a mistake, it's our mistake, so let's solve it out together. And here, one more example I would like to quote, that I'm not sure about which company is that, but I came across a best practice that they have there. Was they have a session or program called Screw It Up Day. So basically, that day, they all come together and they discuss as a team on where did they fail, and what was the reason of their failure, so that they can find out solution together as a team, and they can mend that, or they can mold those failures which shouldn't be repeated in the future. So this is what my idea of failure is, and I would say that keep failing, because failure is actually learning.
Yeah. So first of all, what we can do is like from the top level itself, like it should be coming from top, right? So in any organization, we should have a culture of making mistakes, right? That can be started from the leaders level, like if they are open up and if they are ready for that, and if they are ready to make investment on that, then we can start from them itself. So when the leader is ready, and when we cultivate, or when we mix that with the culture or the values of the value system of the organization, then it should be transferred to the people of the organization. So there are different layers in organization, like head of departments, team leaders, then individual contributors. So there are different layers, right? So if we first orient the people in the top, or senior most people, like why we should be promoting failures in our organization, why should we promote discussing about mistakes and failures, and how we can embrace that. So if they are oriented, they can have a meeting, or they can have a regular conversation with their team members through their weekly check-ins or monthly check-ins. They can promote that values among the people, so that people will be open-minded, right? Even individual contributor who are introvert are will be very free to speak out, even their mistakes, and even they can be accountable for that. So I think that when we prepare our top leaders, then it will be easier for us to embrace the failures in organizations and learn from it.
Being a leader, it's a tough situation to handle, especially people who come up with lots of issues and failures. There are two phases always being a leader: one to the organization, other to the other team members. It represent a common goal towards the team as always. So one thing from my end, like I always used to advise my team to be very transparent enough, in order to admit the mistake, whatever they did at the first start. This is very important, whatever the work or the project, whatever assigned to them is something, will impact the company's growth or whatever. And, instead ending up with the last moment that the task have not been completed, it's better if they come up with an initial stage whether they will not be able to do. And there are people around us to support them in order to overcome how to, success to the common goal. So this is one thing very important. As always, I used to advise my team. And there are something, called an attitude perspective. I have seen there are so many people with good knowledge, and like they are very well performed one, but they will not be able to succeed the task whatever given. It is because of the attitude. So something, as always, they should think they have to do it. Otherwise, it is pretty difficult for them to go towards a successful a platform. So this is something, as always, to be a transparent way towards the team, as always. And it is necessary that sharing their personal experience, especially into the failure. And as always, it's an opportunity given to them to prove themselves that how they are overcoming onto the failure, especially, and they can add more value to the management. And the supervisor, or the people who are reporting to them, they get a good chance of discovering themselves how potential they are.
Uh, I believe it completely depends on the social conditioning that we have right now, because everything starts from the society, everything starts from your home. Even now, to be honest, people have not fully accepted failure as part of their life or part of their journey. Everybody wants to be 100%, though they are not 100%. They want the other person to be, a complete human being. And I believe that if we start from home, for example, if my kid if I have a kid, and if my kid does a bad thing, or he makes a mistake, he or she makes a mistake, I, rather than penalizing in the first instance itself, I should try to make them understand, see, this is not a good thing for you. you should try to change your ways or behave in a good way and mend ways. And if things doesn't work, if that person is or my kid is going to do that for the second time, then I can go ahead and penalize. So rather than penalizing for the failure in the first instance, you should give that person a chance to understand what wrong did he do. And then if that person still doesn't understand, because there are certain people who don't understand what no way, how you give them an encyclopedia, you give them to Google and try to make them understand, they don't do that. So such kind of person, even after two or three instances, you can go ahead and penalize them whichever way you want. It can be a harsh one or it can be a soft one. It's up to you. But at least the first instance of failure, the person should be given a chance to justify himself or herself, stating that what was the reason they did or committed the mistake. Maybe that could be their, they were not aware of how to do it. They might have some personal reasons or personal problems. So I believe these are the things that how you should try to embrace failure. And in this way, even the person will have that flexibility to make more mistakes or make more, or fail more and learn more.
Okay, I'll give you an example. For example, I've failed so many times in my career, in my personal life, right? So I'll give my example with that, with your answers. Then my friends carry on with theirs. When I started doing this career counseling thing from last 2 years, I've started doing the session on creating a career vision regularly. And you won't believe, when I did for the first time a live session, no one came. So, so that was the starting point, but I started that session. And with that, what I did, I did not discourage myself, but I learned from it. Like, okay, what are the things that I have to do next? I made a few changes in my plans, few changes in my action plan. Then I incorporated that changes while going into live for the second time. And the second time was good enough. Like, not many people came, but people started to get. So I did not stop myself. So there are many examples where we had definitely failed and we incorporate those ideas in our next course of action, and that will definitely helps in bringing more innovations and more ideas in coming days. Similarly, while we talk about this in our organizations, being in our own place, like we have to be this change, or we should be working as a catalyst. Like, we should be embracing the failure as a motivator for our own side also. What I feel like, because we are the leaders in our own place, and we should be one who should be leading by example. So what I think is, like, while uh, we can do brainstorming among the team members itself, we can do that, and we can also do pilot testing. Like, we can do that also. So there are many actions that we can do. So I want to share my example on that.
So at this point, what you've asked this innovation, how to take the innovation, especially in the failure. See, as I already told, right, first we have to admit the mistake, whatever we did, like our mind allow us to think and accept and make us free, stressless, and, it will think what next to do and what we can do to better come out of that solution. So in my practical life, especially in my workplace, I used to conduct a sunrise and a sunset meeting with my team always and all the time. So this is something, like I won't talk much about, like the company's vision and not that and all. It's a day-to-day experience and day-to-day challenges what people used to face, and I'll try to find where actually the team members are, lacking, where the loops are happening. So this is something shared by the team, and there are more, as always, say, knowledge is something we can pitch into all the different people. So it is not necessary that we have to get experience from our own failure. This is something we can also learn from the other failure. So And these meetings is usually help me to get all the unnecessary failures, or like some like prevent the are happening. So you out of the and could be a process of preventing the failure.
So, like Nipa and Ravichandran said, it's actually a good point that learning from others' failure, because your lifetime is really less where you can commit all the mistakes and learn from them. So it's always better to learn from others' failure. And I would also suggest that the management or the leaders who are coming there on the forefront and who are sharing their success stories, rather than that, they can start sharing their failure stories, because looking at them, even we will have a feeling that okay, that person is a human, he or she, they're still a human being. Even we can commit mistakes, even we can, after committing mistakes or after being a failure, we can reach to that level. So that actually kind of motivates you each time you hear the success story, and there's a kind of thing that comes to your mind saying that no, you have to be always successful, you have to be 100% right all the time to reach that level. I think the leaders should start thinking in that level, from the grassroots level, where they should start saying their failure stories. And similarly, the way we create SOPs, or the way we create a booklet about the success story, we should start noting down our failures, so that the person who is coming next, rather than telling them, see, we succeeded this, we did this, rather than that, we should actually present them saying that, see, these are the places where we failed. You make sure that you don't do that, or you don't go through that failure. You make new failures, you make new mistakes, and you write it down and you let us know. So I believe over a period of time you will have thousands of ideas over there.
Thank you so much for this question. Actually, I have failed so many times in my life, as I have said earlier. But initially, I took failure as my guilt. So when I failed, I always used to blame myself. Okay, what are the things that I didn't do well? Why I didn't do well? So I used to blame myself. But over the period of time, what I learned is actually when failures is there, it means like something is coming. Actually, failure is result, right? So when I understood that, okay, failure is actually a result that I'm bringing. Okay, I need to change the process, or I need to change my mindset, or I need to change the things the way that I'm doing right now. So when I learned that, that totally changed me. Actually, that totally changed me, right? So I started making failure in a better way, okay, so that I learned in that way. For example, when in organizations, I'm in the forefront, and I have to make policies and everything. I have to do that, right? And I do research and everything before implementing it. But we are humans, and it is fine that some mistakes that happen, right? So while making policies, while implementing, there are course of actions where things went wrong. But uh, it's my time to stand out and learn from it and make necessary changes upfront, right? Okay, something is not going well, then we should be making the changes in this, and we change this. And when we make changes after failure, then it goes boom, like it's really worked out well, and it's really motivated us. And similarly, I gave you recent example, like when I did the live session, no one came. But in the second time, it came. People started coming in. So that's really motivated me to go more forward and making mistakes, doing things in a better way.
Their personal experience. Yeah, of course. Yes, sometimes if I start thinking the mistakes, the failure, what I've done is, I feel like so funny things. I know in my, it is something I can provenly say that I'm here just because of I have done so much of mistake. And as always, like how we handle it and how do we improve it is very important. So there are so many at times I've made a mistake, and where the one thing I learned is just make ourselves comfort that it can happen only if we are more transparent and admitting the mistake what we have done, and to the reporting managers or whomever the case, the mental stress will allow us to move forward, and it will help us to find a solution. So time by time, whenever I find a mistake, and I admit myself and I blame myself as what I'm said. So and I always believe that it could be the chance that we can add more value to the supervisors or whomever, that like we can this is something what I've learned how to solve the problems. So the more we get we get into the mistake, get into the tough situations and longer, I believe that today. So I would like to share one of the experience and we were not that much better knowledge about that particular project, and team lead was assigned me that particular project, and we were just started with that, knowing the since our director of assigned. But but with all the full interest we have started, and in over a period of 3 months, we were not able to achieve the the output what actually the management were expected. And I said my reporting manager stating that like we were not able to meet their task whatever assigned, and I was little feeling bad. My immediate boss said like no point in thinking about that. Like we have to reveal the mistakes, reveal the mirror, whatever we have done. So we got an appointment with the director, and we have shared, with the stage face, and like we both were, expressed that like we are not able to complete the task as per the expectation. And we got a surprise response from him stating that like I'm little happy with the stage what we are rather getting a result, like I can see some good improvement on this, I'm so happy for that. So this is something, it's an encouraging word from the management, as I always get. So each and every mistakes, each and every errors, we improve ourselves to the next level, and it is something more important that like we have to learn not to do the same mistake what we are doing in the past. So, as always, the successful people in today's environment is always come across their mistakes and failure. So, we also, develop our ability to learn from the mistakes.
Probably if I start talking about my mistakes and failures, I'll have a whole lot of book out here. So it happens every now and then. So like Nipa said, even now I think I am there in the start of my career. So I still take mistakes as a guilt feeling, because each time you make the mistake, like Nipa said, you have that feeling, okay, it's because of you, and you start blaming yourself, and your self esteem actually goes down. But here in my I mean the organization where I'm right now working, I try to keep it open to my seniors, saying that see, that these are the mistakes which I did, and I feel bad and all. So at some point of time, she becomes my mentor or my senior. She becomes my support function. She says that it's okay, the way mistakes happen. It's a human nature, and I think I'll take few more years to reach to that stage where Niba is right now, where she has completely accepted herself, or completely accepted failure as part of her. I completely agree, and I'll completely empathize with Niba, because I think it might take some more years for me to reach to that level where I start accepting failure as part of my life, and I'm no more scared of making mistakes and failing.
Um, Actually, this is pretty much hard thing, but that is possible. Yeah, but that is possible, right? First of all, when we have a guilt feeling or when we blame ourselves, like I always think about this. Okay, this we are human, right? We always make mistakes. We do not know everything that we should be knowing it, but I motivate myself like at least I tried it, right? at least I made a mistake, or at least I took some action so that I'm able to know what is wrong, right? So that I can guide the people later on, or even my friends, colleagues who are going in the same phase. Then I can consult or counsel her my experience, and so that they get curious about it, right? So I try myself to motivate myself. I'm a very self-motivated person. First I do that, and I accept my condition, right? I really accept my condition. Okay, what I'm feeling right now, what I'm thinking right now, what I'm hearing right now, I totally accept that. And I make a plan, right? Okay, over the 5 days or over next 1 hour, what I really want to feel myself. I make a choices like, do I really want to be in that position, or do I want to get up from this and move forward? Then I'll make second choice. Then I'll take actions and just move forward, move ahead. So that's how I do it. I do it.
Uh, Technically, I would say that for me, after marriage, my husband has become my really good friend. So whenever I do a mistake at office, personal friend or professional friend, he's the first person I reach out to, and I'm like, I just pour over everything on him, blabber, keep blabbering. I'll do all those gimmicks and drama and everything. And at the end of my conversation, he'll listen to me silently, patiently, very patiently. And after everything, he's like, it's okay, leave it, it's okay, it's done, it's past. Now there's no point thinking about it and ruining your present, and you are gonna ruin your future too. So that is another mechanism which pull me out of guilt. So because when he is saying that it's okay, then I'm like, fine, there's nothing big, nothing big as your peace of mind. So you can just leave it over and you can start over again, start anew.
Yeah, see, like I used to, like visualize my destiny always, if we keep something what we want to be, like I always visualize how we could be. So that, like keeping in mind and imagining that, like will help you to boost up all the time and make yourself more self-confident. And even sometimes if you go down, just think about that and, like will, like the situation will pump up in a higher level and help us to, go forward with full potential and the learning, the mistakes what we learned, and it definitely help us. And this is something like more we can share some good things or bad things, whatever happened in our day-to-day life, because like the days will always not be the same. So sometimes would have end up with a like tough time, sometimes would have with a like energetic day. So I used to share always with my my missus, and she used to give us so much of good like tips and ideas and encouragement things. And she used to say like, I would like to share at this point of time, like whatever the failure and wherever I'm in, like she used to advise me that like the situation you are in, like this is something as God has given to you to train yourself, and there is something which is coming big to handle it. So it's very important as if I'm running into any problem or situation, I keep in this is something problem or situation, I keep in this is something given a chance to learn to like handle such a big trouble which is coming forward. So this is the one thing I would like to share here.
To conclude what we discussed today with our panelists, so the awareness is the key for the next steps. So being aware that you have done a failure and acting upon it and constantly continuously improving and making an action plan is the key to success. And studies suggest that the organization that has a culture to embrace failure, the culture of transparency, succeed. And usually the organization that succeed with the innovation projects foster an environment where failure offers a valuable learning opportunities. These companies encourage risk taking even though knowing that the ideas will not still work and there is a huge risk. The instances can be seen as opportunities for employee and create awareness between them. So instead of celebrating just our wins, it makes more sense even to celebrate our losses and facilitate feedbacks between the employees, as some of our panelists mentioned. So, real empowerment comes from a workplace that makes you feel that they have your back. So, who gives a space to learn, fail, and grow. On that note, ending again with the statistics of what I mentioned earlier. So, even though knowing that the point of failure is high, 82% of the companies invest in innovation projects that has the high point of failure. Why? Because 90% of the companies have their groundbreaking innovation and ideas and their record-breaking products invented with these innovation projects. So there is always a risk to be taken to fail and to succeed. So thank you for watching us today and joining us on our panel discussion series. Hope to see you all again on one another series of ours. Until then, please follow us on our website, as well subscribe our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Instagram. Thank you.